Here we are, guys. Trench Crusade, Carcass Front. I'm going to talk to you about the book, the warbands, and everything else you get in this box, and why it's the one-stop shop for anyone wanting to start Trench Crusade. Trench Crusade has been on the scene for about 2 years now. When it first dropped, there was a lot of hype about it. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I've seen some amazing models, but I've not really seen anything on the game bar a couple of YouTube videos. I really feel like this product is going to take this game up a notch and see it played in stores everywhere. It isn't just a handful of miniatures for Trench Crusade. Carcass Front is the game's first big starter turned campaign box, containing 2 complete opposing warbands, a campaign system, terrain, gaming accessories, and introductory rules for people like me who are brand new to Trench Crusade. A massive thank you to the guys at Trench Crusade for sending us a preview copy to review early for you guys. So today we're going to take a proper look at Carcass Front, what's actually in the box, what do you get for your money in terms of value, how good are the miniatures exactly, and perhaps most importantly, is this the box you should buy if you want to get into Trench Crusade? So let's get into it. Before we start talking about the Carcass Front box itself, I want to have a little natter about Trench Crusade as a game and as a setting. So Trench Crusade is a tabletop skirmish-based game of a few handful of models in warbands scrapping against each other for the salvation of mankind as the servants of hell fight the servants of heaven. However, like other settings and other tabletop games, there aren't really any good guys in this. Everyone's horrible, everyone is blinded by faith or affliction, and it's generally not a nice place to be if you're a human. The game is centric around skirmish-based warfare, so 2 small warbands fighting other warbands of between 5 and 15 models, thereabouts. Early on in the game's life, the models and the aesthetic have certainly carried it and made it popular. You have demons of hell possessing people to try and thwart the servants of heaven. You have bomb witches floating around the battlefield with enormous, massive bombs floating above their heads. Enormous mechanized infantry and mobile shrine golems with hammers the size of cars. It is a really, really fun setting, and aesthetically it's really, really, really sick. But we're going to talk more about the upcoming product Carcass Front to see whether this is suitable for you. So what is Carcass Front? Carcass Front is a product that is doing essentially 2 jobs at once. It's an introductory box for new players and people new to the setting and the game, while also being a narrative campaign expansion for people who maybe already play Trench Crusade. If you're like me and you love learning new games, while also tying into a narrative campaign system or a progression system within that game, this is the perfect box for you. If you love the setting, you couldn't ask for more. Inside the box, you've got 2 complete warbands of the Heretic Naval Raiders and the Procession of the Sacred Affliction, 16 models in total, a 96-page Carcass Front campaign book, which is absolutely beautiful. You've also got some light terrain to use in the form of these tank trap hedgehogs and some deactivated, hopefully, sea mines. Record sheets for tracking your campaign. A campaign map, which you can also use to track your campaign, which alternatively is a sick poster. A load of D6 dice to use in-game. Some tokens and a measuring ruler. And introductory rules, scenarios, and warbands for you to learn how to play this game. It not just gives you everything you need to learn how to play Trench Crusade, but 2 complete 700 Ducat warbands to play. Now let's talk about the models in the box, both of which have their own very distinct aesthetic. This warband you see now is the Procession of the Sacred Affliction, and these are the servants of heaven in this campaign box. These were painted by myself, and I think this warband portrays the aesthetic and the narrative of Trench Crusade very, very well. These guys are essentially religious zealotry and battlefield suffering and horrific disease all rolled into a squad of miniatures. Their purpose on the battlefield is to serve heaven as best they can through sheer will, sheer faith. Any affliction that hits them, they try their best to ignore. They don't need armor. They don't need any form of defense bar their relic shields and the bandages and millstones they carry into battle. This is a very holy horror aesthetic. It's very Hellraiser-esque. You've got robes, you've got big rusty weapons, horrible mutations and boils across them where they're riddled with disease, but because they believe in their faith to preserve them, they will seek no cure to their ailments or protection. Only faith will get them through. From a painting perspective, they were really, really fun to paint. They scream for things like speed paints. So if you want to see how I painted mine to a battle-ready standard, please check out my other video being released alongside this one. It's a lot of dirty whites, bone, dark rusted metallics, worn leather, elements of dry blood where you want to put them. But again, the theme of these guys is disease-addled, faith-bolstered, absolute religious lunatics. You get a few different variants on the sprues, a few different aesthetic and weapon loadouts you can choose. I went with what I thought looked cool. You have got the introductory warbands you can follow if you want to stick with that. And then we have these absolute units. This is the Heretic Naval Raiders warband in the box. It couldn't be any more taken away from the Sacred Affliction. These guys are armored, they are semi-uniformed, they're a bastardization of a military unit, somewhere between a World War I skirmish scouting warband and a specialized naval raiding unit. These servants of hell have not a single shred of morality. What they do have, especially in place of what my Sacred Affliction have, is guns and ranged power. This warband is perfect and far more suitable for anybody out there who likes their collection and their projects painted more in a militaristic style, something with a bit more uniform. There's a little bit more opportunity for a kind of unified, cohesive paint scheme across this warband compared to the Affliction. And I feel like this is a really, really great contrasting aesthetic to the other warband, because where they are absolute lunacy in their zealotry and their faith towards the Lords of Heaven, the Naval Raiders are that kind of bastardization of military with the corruption of hell amongst them. They're all about choking smoke, firepower, throwing lead and propellants at people. You can have a really great image of these guys trudging their way onto a beach from shallow shores, where they've come out of a hell-torn submarine and are now looking for a settlement to raid. Yeah, I think aesthetically, the two warbands alongside each other are absolutely mega. And whereas the Affliction are very fabrics, texture, wood, these guys have a lot more metallics, hard surfaces, hard materials on them. So if you're a painter who enjoys that element more than the natural fibers and textures, I think this will be really for you. Now here at Unrelenting Hobby, you'll know we are all about the painting. My focus in the work I do as a studio lead is painting as many models as fast as possible. Now Trench Crusade presents a little bit outside the box of that because the warbands are so small, because there's only 60 models in this box. It kind of encourages me to want to spend a bit more time on those models, give them a little bit more love, maybe add the flourishes where I don't normally do to the army painting I do. However, I love the fact that these warbands are so built around the imagery and the narrative of the setting that it is very, very easy to make these models look amazing with minimal effort. I painted my Call to the Sacred Affliction in 8 hours in a day, and it proved really, really good fun. It was a lot of speed paints, it was messing around with metallics, it was using weathering to really push things like rust and grime. I used the Grim Dark Shadow shade from Army Painter from the John Blanche series for the first time, and absolutely fell in love with it. Kenny's hopefully going to do a guide on how he painted his Naval Raiders, and I've got a video on the way which should be out at the same time as this video on how I got my Sacred Affliction battle ready. From there, in my Discord, I'll be showing how I got them up a notch with some advanced techniques with minimal effort and minimal products to help you guys get your models painted in no time whatsoever. There are alternate builds to each of these models. There are different weapons and different aesthetic bits like heads and loadouts and stuff like that. So you can really go ham in how you want to do them to make them look how you want. However, if you do want to use the introductory warband rules in the box, do try and build them to as they are on those sheets. Let me know how you're planning on painting your models. I can't wait to see what everybody else does with them. But Carcass Front isn't just about these wicked new models. I would argue they are joint position for the star of this box alongside the 96-page campaign book. And here's a few reasons why. The campaign book contains 2 different campaigns. The first is a narrative campaign designed for 2 players. It's built around linked scenarios, which ties into the story of the Prophecy of Leviathan, which is the story within the Carcass Front release. Then the second campaign, which expands on the experience into a map-based campaign, of which you get a massive map poster in the box, which I think is absolutely wicked. That's going to look great on the walls of stores up and down the world. And this is all about a campaign based between 2 and 8 players. Now, I think this is absolutely wicked because the first story-based campaign is great for the people getting involved with Trench Crusade. Maybe Carcass fronts their first box around it, and that's going to give them a great idea on how the game plays and how campaigns play. But then you blow that up to an 8-player map-based campaign with loads of different areas to fight in, resources, relics, boons, consequences, and the overarching impact it has around the story and the setting of Trench Crusade, I think is what we need more of in tabletop wargaming. Me personally, that's my jam within it. I know Trench Crusade are doing a worldwide campaign based around the Carcass front release where your games will impact the setting, which again, I love. I would love more companies to do that around releases. But the campaigns within this book, I think, are one of the true shining stars of this release and the game system as a whole. So alongside the campaigns in the book and the warbands and the bits you need to play, you get a campaign tracker, which is a little flip pad for you to track your campaigns, which means everything you need in this box is going to get you playing campaigns, which is absolutely perfect. The rules for the game is are free online. There is a rulebook coming out in November you can purchase. So this box is extremely accessible to play campaigns, which is exactly what I want. I can't wait to see these played in stores. Alongside the models and the campaign book, you also get some anti-tank hedgehogs and some deactivated sea mines for scatter terrain. You get loads of D6 dice to be able to use in game. You've got some little accessory cards to be used in campaigns. The instruction guide can be found on that little slip with a QR code, which takes you to the instructions to download, and the campaign tracker, which you use to track your campaigns. You also get introductory scenarios, a quick reference rule sheet, and 2 starter sheets for introduction warbands. And not forgetting a load of red tokens to track your blessed markings, your blood markings, and several aids to help you in game. So everything you need to play TC. Speaking of value for money, let's go over that and give you my final verdict on Carcass Front as a product. I really feel this box is a one-stop shop regardless if you're brand new to Trench Crusade or an experienced player. There is something in here you will utilise and the value for money is there. So, in terms of box and total contents, you get 16 brand new plastic miniatures with variable loadouts, enough to make 2 complete 700 Ducat warbands, which is the conventional point size for a game of Trench Crusade. You get a substantial campaign book, complete with 2 campaigns, and not just campaigns, you get artwork, lore, missions for several campaigns, but also something I love in my games is a random mission generator, complete with how to generate your own missions with deployment, outcomes, objectives. That in the book to me should be standard. There is nothing better than playing a completely unique different game with an opponent and having the best time doing that. The same 6 missions over and over again just doesn't do it for me anymore. Give me fun, give me random, give me wild. Also included in the Carcass Front book is a complete lore breakdown for each of the 2 warbands in the book, as well as a complete breakdown on war gear, weapon lists, and special rules unique to each warband. So everything you need to play these guys is in there. So alongside the book, you get the light terrain in the form of the mines and the hedgehogs. You get loads of D6 dice to use in game, a campaign tracker notepad with loads of inserts. So you finish campaign, tear that away, the next one's ready. Campaign aid cards, markers to keep track of in-game effects, and the introduction rules in the forms of introduction warbands, scenarios, and a reference sheet. We are now sadly in an age where starter boxes and introductory products are, if we're very lucky, below £100. Carcass Front at RRP comes in at exactly £100. I would say that's pretty much bang on for what you're getting in terms of the quality of product, the replayability, the new amazing miniatures. I would pay £100 for this. You can get it slightly cheaper at your FLGS. A lot of places do it for 10, 15, 20% off. So getting it for around 80 quid, I think is a good price for this product. Without drawing direct comparisons to highly prolific competitors, you pay the same price for a box with a lot less in there, with other bits you'll need just to be able to play the stuff out of that box. Whereas Trench Crusade, Carcass Front, everything is self-contained, except the main rules for the game, which are free to download online in a living rulebook setting. So it's perpetually updated, but will be free to access by the community, which is a great modern way of doing things. And a lot of companies could learn from Trench Crusade for doing that for their products. I would certainly rather that than then put a big hardback rulebook in this and make it £140 or £150. Don't get me wrong, I love a big fat rulebook, and I've seen the Trench Crusade rulebook. It is beautiful, but the option of buying that separately or buying Carcass Front and using the online rules, I think is a really good compromise for a lot of people. So my all-round verdict on Carcass Front, guys, I think it's a great release. I think it's good for the money you spend and what you get back from it, purely in the new miniatures, which are exclusive to the box for the time being. If you're new to Trench Crusade or eager about Trench Crusade, I'd say it's absolutely mega. But again, for me, the shining light in this box is that campaign book. It is the resources in there for playing your campaigns, randomly generating missions. Behind that, it's the lore, the artwork, the framing of the setting. So my verdict for this product is wicked. Do treat yourself. I think it's incredibly accessible for people, which is brilliant. In an age where we are priced out of a lot of the things we want to enjoy, or concurrent and non-stop releases invalidate a lot of the stuff that we love, I think hopefully this is a staple for what Trench Crusade intend to do, with a focus on the game, its players, the models. I think if they can maintain that balance of keeping the painters and the model collectors happy, but as well as keeping their gamers happy, I think fans of Trench Crusade are in for a good time. Let me know what you think. Are you going to treat yourself to Carcass Front? Which warband do you love the most? Which one are you really excited to paint, or which one are you excited to play? Are you going to be playing this in your local store? If so, comment and tag your local store so I can say hello to them. I do love visiting other stores and trying to promote them as best as I can. If you would like to see more Trench Crusade, comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that social media cringy, horrible bullshit I can't stand, but it is appreciated. Check out my painting video for the Sacred Affliction. Don't forget to come and check us out. If you want a hand with your painting, give us a shout. If you would like some advice or guidance, head to my Discord. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy Carcass Front, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace.